Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I did a venting video this morning about the corruption in Michigan, but there's just not enough help here, and it's a dumping state, so there's really no help. You're in a dump state. They dump remains and hide stuff here. It's insane. We have plethora of lakes and deep, deep lakes and I have wondered on numerous occasions if I guess I'm supposed to just accept that I had to stay here for whatever reason, whatever reveal, whatever good old Lord Jesus Christ has up his sleeve. You know what I mean? Tried to really just try to have faith, you know. I did. I'd be told I didn't have good faith because I didn't do it according to others, I guess. But I've got a lot of good in my life. I've always had a lot of good. But this type of persecution, but let's look at some coloring pieces and that neat story about the Buddhist walking across the country. I thought that was really special. It started back in November, so. But they did have a car accident. Someone got injured very badly. I don't know if only one Buddhist got hit. They were doing a walk across America. I think it's either concluded or maybe they're still on the journey. I couldn't find a reliable source. They were all different. They're supposed to land in DC, but it sounded like to me they were over on the East Coast and they were heading west. So I'm not sure what's going on. Because the car accident happened in Texas, and I'm like, this is really pretty unusual. I mean, most monks don't want to have to get out and do such activities. So it can be a good sign and also a bad sign. And maybe in between. It's a huge warning from Creator God. I'll get in trouble for New Age here, but I feel like I'm just reasonable in some respects in the sense of if you do compare old writings, like there's just certain signs, and sometimes those signs don't come through just the cross. I mean, I believe it's still through the cross, but if monks felt the need with not proper protection, one dog, I believe, and then maybe one vehicle trying to do a blink light, and then there was like a major car accident in Texas. This is all while we're trying to turn into the new year with these major exposures and violence increasing, and they're trying to do a peace walk across our country because they're so concerned. I'm not saying it's not in their belief system, but like if you see something like that, it should cause you to really pause and reflect. If things are so bad, it brings the monks out to walk in an unsafe manner, not even bicycle riding or scooters or some kind of four-wheel vehicle. They're willing to risk their lives. And I know of some of the mentality down in Texas. People don't talk about it enough, but trust me, some of those sickos down there would feel pride in plowing off a monk on the road or something. Like, there's people that aren't right up in these parts, and you get down deep into woods and areas of certain places, and you can see people literally just want to plow like animals down. Like, there are people that are just literally reprobated. And it doesn't matter where you go, there's pockets of them. So I don't know, these people say, I know a high recommendation for me is I need to be around more light, I need to be enveloped. I guess I would be kind of like in a protected bubble in a way. I don't know, I mean, I believe God would have done that, or he did in some areas for periods of time in his own way. So my son could have some normalcy, but I don't know what good light is if it's hidden, and sometimes they have to hide to rejuvenate, but Alright, So we're just going to look at some colorings. And I just think that this Buddhist peace walk is a big sign. Like, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, this might be the only way God can get to people because they're so whack. You know, I'm sorry. It's just like, whatever. Call me wrong. And maybe Buddha will get them to Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, it's a gateway to being open to spiritual notion to show maybe those that are the deadest of the dead. Because if you hate God, you would technically hate his creation. And so then it's like a double hate. So then you're actually technically hating yourself in some way, shape, or form. Or you're just a real full-blown hypocrite. Because if you love nature but you hate Creator, the true Creator, you deny the true Creator, then it's just still a disaster. So one of these pages was cut different. Now I just colored these. We won't get the good light of them. I do this periodically. Sometimes I just create my own thing, just with color. It's just a good focus. Good way to settle down. Some people struggle with full-out meditation posture. This can be a form of meditation. But you keep it simple and you just go with what you're doing. It shouldn't be a lot of huff and puff, or is it good enough, or I don't like what I'm doing, or it's not the right way. That would not be a good meditative practice or hobby. If you're a woman who tends to think you have a lot to do and you get scrambled, this is a good way to settle down. This is my current one. I'm almost finished. This one I am taking a little longer on. This artist, I forgot I did still have the piece to, it's The Enchanted Forest by Johanna Basford, an inky quest and coloring book. And I received this from someone staying in the facility with me who I believe literally did think they were Jesus, so that's not good. That's not good. Like, to the extreme, okay? And apparently it was just like compartmentalized. I don't know if she thought she was Jesus all the time. Like, true in the flesh Jesus. Apparently it's a mental health epidemic. People think that they are literally Jesus. You know, it can get concerning because of the I'll just be honest. I constantly see flashes of Jesus believers, like true blue Jesus believers, being locked away in asylums. So there's going to be a wave of that. Now, if you think you're God and you can command death and all that, there's something seriously wrong going on. But I know a number of groups I visit or view, whatever you want to call it, observe, no, that's the wrong word. Kind of see where they are, like, in their spiritual sense and beliefs. And I mean, if I then go into like a woke mindset or a more Luciferian mentality, very cold, very calculated, I myself, as atheist or whatever, in these kook groups that think that they can be creators and they're going to decide who is what and when and where, and switch labels and change labels and add labels and just make such a mess of creator gods harmony, is they're just going to lock all the Jesus people away. There is no way that they can allow people that truly believe in the power of God, not that they are fully the power, they understand on the deepest core the power of God. They've seen the power of God. For whatever reason, they've seen it in a different way than the average Jane or Joe. They will not have it. They will not have it. I have healed people physically. I have never done no, I didn't deal with, I could not have dealt with anything that involved attachments. Wasn't good at it, was not my forte. Too sensitive. But I have helped people. Be it we just lined up psychically, be it they were on their last shred of hope and didn't have the money to dump, or, whatever. Maybe they'd already dumped lots of money. Maybe God was just in the mood that day to give someone a miracle. I'm not here to differentiate why I was able to heal certain people. And some I didn't even have to do full, like, a hand on. Just barely. I shouldn't be in trouble for that. And I had agents approach me. So, like, pretty much stop your healing is what was the message. Okay, so that's one job that I was told to stop, that I was born to do. And, we're just here sharing. And just random thoughts. But the Buddhist thing should definitely be, the other one that really sticks out is there's been some random explosions or fires that in the Swiss regions, that's pretty vague. It's escaping me because it seems like once I tried to find the news later, it was already, maybe it was fake, but it was it stuck out. It was something that just didn't fit right, and the fact that the German, and I don't know if it was the English government, if this was in Switzerland or where, but that seems right. Because I remember thinking, why wouldn't the Swiss have only been dealing with this? But then right away they were wanting to say that it was not terrorist related. But it was like a club type place in a basement, like a basement too, where they would hang out, and like after hours. And it was very disturbing, and apparently there was another fire, and so it's, as I've been saying for several years, is that it's a culmination, and then you add in the Antifa, but it mainly comes from the funding that was going out, and it produced and protected terrorist organizations that notoriously do cartel trafficking, human abuses, and drugs, and so that's just where we are. And I don't have all the answers. I just get tidbits, and usually ends up coming about, but we can't fix deep county problems if our entire state is infested. For instance, Minnesota, New York, Michigan, all the rest. Now, some say we have to work from the bottom up, so when we know all of it's corrupt, work from the county. But if the county is fully corrupt, who's going to boot the county? Who counties have been functioning as that for decades? And then you say, well, leave. But we now know that, or we have known, many of us have known, because we've been hunted down like rabbits, is by our own government, is, I don't want to keep going back to it's too late, but it's like it already had started to crumble. And then now people are just all of a sudden like, what? It crumbled? No, it was already crumbled. It was, they kept trying to cover the crumbles and like say you have an injure to a foundation of a home or something like that, and you just keep putting like a seam filler. It's really cheap. It's like a caulking, but you're putting a caulking in a cement seizure or stone seizure. Most likely the stone, it would be within the mortar, the grout, and between the stone. Very seldom with large stones just all of a sudden crack. But in the sense of bricks or something, you can say, well, it would, you could caulk it for a while, keep going back and caulking it, right? But you still got a leak or whatever, and you know that if you don't do a more appropriate seal and find out where it's coming in and seal from the outside into the home, you're still going to have the problem. And so when you have a country, North America, all of us, because Canada is seeping down. At one of the places I was punished in, it was a form of punishment, reprogramming observation, was Canadian labeled. Do you understand? The material that they were brainwashing people with was from Canada. I'm in Michigan. See what I'm saying? It's still a problem. Still a big problem. And we're all quite concerned that have any kind of brain working. And what really blows my mind as my stunts with self-medicating is I do not understand what has happened to people. No, I mean, is it related to medical procedures, do you think? Do you think that it is a long term? I mean, do you think it's really just predictive programming that has done this to people? I mean, that is blowing my mind, and I'm not being mean right now. Please don't. I really could. I was blocked off of Instagram, it was done by my mistake. I had to change the phone number. But I went back on, and everyone on there is mean to one another. I mean, I'm just talking like there just can't seem to be found any kind of rationale on any social media platforms, but Instagram, really, people are getting really aggressive, like full out, ready for full out internal war too. Like nobody even really knows. So we're going to come full circle to the importance of a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. I really, really encourage this. And making peace with your upset with the Creator, because if there was 19 Buddhists and one nearly lost his leg and another one, I don't know what happened, or if it was just one guy, and they still continued this walk, and he said that it was because he believes that was the only way people would just take a moment and reflect on the violence in our country, and that they were still willing to do this trek. So I don't know if they're down to 18 monks, and that they're supposed to land in Washington, D.C. if they didn't already. And I don't think so, but so it's not just the Buddhists. There's several events, but if anything alone, to understand that that is not common. And when you see a spiritual group of sorts like that, feel the need to come out into what they consider a dark place that's so dark they don't want any part of it, and to walk and to lose a major injured man happens already, and they're still continuing to do this, that it's time to find God in the way that you can find him. But if you want to continue the God hate and think you're God and just continue this madness, then go right ahead. But it can start with us first. And then, yes, start calling out the corruption, for God's sakes. They gotta go. They all gotta go. I don't think we have enough room for them all in jail. They need to resign. They're not allowed to work in certain, they can't work in law, police, medical, mental health, none of it. No children, none of it. No women, they can't be around women. Minimal. No intimate, like, professional title anymore. They're not allowed. They had power and the ability to help, and they didn't want to help. They wanted to protect predators. So I'm going to pick a random animal just for fun, and hope that this new year keeps going at this firework display that it is of exposure of what needs to be exposed. Regardless of how many of us lose our lives in the process, that the exposure continues. Pelican, forgiveness, let go of your judgments. Each time you judge yourself or others, you immediately create the illusion of separation. And so, Swan, grace, appreciate the beauty inside and all around you. Look up at the stars tonight. Smell the fragrances in the air. Greet the sunrise tomorrow. Hear the of Mother Nature's creatures as she awakens for the day. Look and really see the beauty and elegance of everything, from the timeless leaf to the most gigantic tree and all that's in between. Don't judge what you see or experience as good or bad. Instead, appreciate the precious uniqueness of the diverse elements that make up this wonderful world in which we exist. You really need to get outdoors in nature to deepen this experience of appreciation. Mother Earth is your true mother. You're birthed from her through your biological mother. Honor her by simply reveling in the remarkable tapestry of her diverse expressions. And as you do, breathe deeply and slowly. You and your world are intimately interwoven, and you're alive in this world. You're alive in this world. Appreciate your own beauty and magnificent being that you are as you revel in the eloquent exquisiteness of all that you see, hear, and feel. Peace, elegance, purity, innocence. The swan. We got the swan and forgiveness. Not sure. The pelican, forgiveness. So you can find all that through Stephen D. Farmer, PhD. I don't make any money sharing this. Quite honest opinion, he charges too much for a session. But I do like his animal oracle cards. That is considered witchcraft in many circles. It is not to me. Sorry about that. I've went back and forth, thrown out two. Then I'm like, I enjoy nature. I think this encapsulates it the best, especially connect with Creator God on a neutral level that doesn't involve soothsaying or fortune telling. It's just animal reading, a description of an animal. It's not every animal. And I found that it was just a nice way, like, to meet. And I love nature. And we all love Jesus, you know. And I will always Jesus thump away, you know, Bible thump away. But isn't it sometimes just to enjoy what God did make and the beauty of it and all around? So that's what my hope is in the conditions of all this, is that we must expose the corruption, we must clean it out, and then rebuild. And we can't do it with caulk no more. Okay? So it's going to take a true refurbishing, a rebuild, a proper restructuring of the foundation that was mutilated from the beginning. Okay? and years of caulking and seepage and leaks and crumbling and deterioration, the cover-up can no longer go on. And that is straight from God's source. Have a great day.